While hundreds of Tobagonians were gathered at the Scarborough Jetty to witness the THA minority leader Watson Duke and his team make their historic swim from Tobago to Trinidad. Now, Mr. Duke had embarked on the swim in an attempt to highlight the long-standing seabridge issues that have gravely affected Tobagonians. Patricia Nicholson was at the Scarborough Jetty and she has this report.
Also embarking on the swim with Mr. Duke was Minority Member Farley Augustine, with Minority Councillor Dr. Faith B. Israel offering support from a pirogue. Before getting into the water, Mr. Duke mounted the back of a van with a blowhorn in hand, explaining to those gathered why he chose this means to bring attention to the seabridge matter that has been plaguing Tobagonians for many months.
The idea is that you put us in a position where swimming may be the only option, because swimming is the only thing we have control over. That's the only thing we have control over. We do not have control over the boat. When the boat is ready, the boat is shut down. When they're ready, the boat has to come, folks. Swimming is the only thing we have control over.
He said Tobagonians have been suffering for far too long and the time had come for its deliverance. Minority Member Farley Augustine admitted that by no means were they great swimmers, but he said the message had to be sent that Tobagonians were suffering and that something had to be done about it. He said what made things even worse was that Chief Secretary Kelvin Charles remained silent on the matter.
This morning we begin a Herculean task. One, to send a strong signal to the central government that Tobago means business. Two, to send an even stronger signal to our inordinately silent Chief Secretary that Tobago means business, and that we did not sign up for a baby-in-chief. We signed up for a Chief Secretary who will speak on our behalf and stand up in our defense. Mr. Augustine said the days of party politics had long gone and that the time had come for Tobagonians to unite for a greater cause. The market vendors are suffering. People can't go to Trinidad to get basic school books and supplies. Legal documents can't be filed. People have interviews in Trinidad and can't get a flight. People from all sides of the political divide expressed disappointment at the way in which the seabridge situation was being handled and took the decision to stand in support of Mr. Duke's action. The team eventually jumped into the waters and began their journey to Trinidad with jet skis and pirogues alongside them. They arrived in Toco around 2 p.m. I'm Patricia Nicholson for C News.
And there was a small group of people on hand to welcome Mr. Duke as he swam to shore at the Toco fishing depot almost 6 hours later. Reporter Ian Wason and cameraman Nigel Alexander were there and bring us the story.
So about 4 hours and 15 minutes ago, Watson Duke and his entourage left Scarborough. And there he is, about 600 meters just outside of the Toco fishing depot. Watson Duke and his entourage seem to be going quite well. He would have left Tobago via swimming, and of course because of the choppy waters he would have got on the boat, and upon reaching the calmer waters just off of Toco he would have jumped back out of the boat and he would continue to swim the rest of the journey. Mr. Duke reached the shore just after 2 p.m. to a band of supporters, including the first and second vice president of the PSA. He then explained why the swim and the sail demonstrated the problems Tobagonians have with the inter-island service. The swim was to protest more than just the ferry fiasco.
Tobago operates as a state within a state. That's why there's a Tobago House of Assembly. That's why the Tobago House of Assembly takes such precedence and prominence above local government. Right? Yeah. The Chief Secretary is likened unto a Prime Minister or Premier in a small country. Yes. And there are certain functions that the Chief Secretary is allowed to rule on and make policy on. 33 of them. The air and the sea bridge happens to be one.
Mr. Duke told the media he brought along a letter to be delivered to President Carmona,
asking for a meeting to discuss the air and sea bridge. One to Caribbean Airlines, asking for a meeting on the air bridge, and also the Port Authority of Trinidad and Tobago, asking for a meeting on the sea bridge.
Before returning to Tobago, he performed a ceremonial planting of a banana plant on the compound of the Toco fishing depot. Ian Wason, C News.